Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 1st to the 7th of April 2019. This is very much a balancing point week as we're coming out of the spring equinox, which is the perfect time to balance inner and outer, masculine and feminine, head and heart especially. So some of the lessons that we've been learning over the Mercury retrograde is how to get out of the control brain, how to give the mind a job to do, and how to relax and surrender into real timing, into the unfolding of our lives from a place deep within, rather than bringing the mind in straight away to control and make a plan before we've even energized what it is that we're doing and why. So we begin the week with Pluto opposite the North Node, and this is like a North Star. It's about pinpointing where you're going, what your direction is, but from the very inside of ourselves rather than on an outward stretch first. So finding that North Star deep within and centering on that, embracing our potential, and then taking the necessary steps daily towards that. So all last summer and all through last year we were taken inwards to reconnect with our true selves, to let go of the planning, the narrative, and the need to be busy, the need to be doing outwardly all the time. And now we actually have the opportunity to put some plans into place, so the new year really does start here. And on Monday we have Mars in Gemini. So this is a very lively combination, like a torchbearer. If we've connected with our inner passion, then we can start to take actions. And because Gemini is an air sign, which is very vocal, we can even start to speak things into being, because words have vibration. It's said in many of the old texts that the world was spoken or sung into being. And this is the energy that I feel for Mars going into Gemini at this time, after such a powerful spring equinox with the Sun meeting with Chiron last week, to really stand strong and flexible, to know your alignment, to come from that passion deep within, and then start to speak and act that into being, trusting that everything is unfolding as it should. So very lively energy there with Mars in Gemini lighting the way like a torchbearer. And this will be for about 8 weeks. By Tuesday it's worth reflecting on the recent Mercury retrograde. We were shown beyond the illusions and delusions. It's a very foggy scenario with Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and yet if we trust our intuition, go to our real emotional intelligence, then everything becomes a lot clearer once the veils are removed. So every Mercury retrograde requires a change in perspective, to stop long enough, to look around, to discern what is and isn't true, what is and isn't serving us, to be gentle and honest with ourselves and make the necessary adjustments, because this one has been about our consciousness. We have the power to change our mind, we have the power to change our vibration. But if we're thinking erroneous thoughts and we're taking erroneous action, then that just takes us down a dead-end street. So have a look back on the Mercury retrograde period. Since about late February, what's changed? Has your perspective changed? Can you see the real picture? Can you feel the truth within? And have you got off the conveyor belt long enough to at least determine whether that's the direction you want to be going in the first place? So we're coming out of the Mercury retrograde shadow now, so this is the assessment, this is the getting the real picture, receiving the message and realising that we've actually made the adjustments and we're heading in a different direction. So by Wednesday I feel, with so much energy still in Pisces, that it's worth having a look at yourself as a multi-lifetime being. We get caught with the blinkers of just this life and measuring ourselves against other people's timeline, or what we think we should have done by now, or who we should be by now. But once we expand that out, which is the gift of astrology, we can see ourselves as a soul that's possibly been here before. Whatever you feel deeply about may be part of your plan. So if you take off the label of your job title or your family status or your current situation long enough, then who really are you? Do you remember why you came here? Do you remember what experience you wanted to have, or who you wanted to become? What challenges you wanted to set yourself in order that you could grow and raise your consciousness? So very soulful skies on Wednesday to explore such soul purpose questions, and a perfect time to really centre to the core before things start to speed up. By Thursday we have the dark moon in Aries before the new moon on Friday. So the dark moon is always a perfect time to let go of anything that's served its purpose. You can have a look over the last month or over the last 6 months to see what we've learnt and to only take the seed of awareness forwards. So very much this year is all about letting go of density. We don't have to drag everything forwards, belong to the story, belong to the label, because those belongings create beliefs, create behaviours, and that's how we get trapped, caught in a rut. But we're supposed to be light and free by now, having recentered. So anything you can do on Thursday to complete the process, really getting back to the true you, your soul essence, and why you came here, who you really are without all of those labels and responsibilities, that's really worth your full attention on Thursday. Because by Friday we have the new moon at 15 degrees Aries, so please look in your chart to find 15 degrees if you're following along. And this is the end of a phase and the beginning of a new one. In our collective society we've been heavily programmed to come from the mind. But at the equinox we have Aries and Libra, those are the equinox signs, and that's the head and the heart. So if your mind's been running the show, if you're overthinking, if you're creating problems for yourself, then the balance that we have at this equinox, especially as the new moon comes in, is to move from the head to the heart, from doing to being. And this requires presence and patience and practice. So if we're too busy, if we're too distracted, if we're reaching out all the time, we're actually running away from ourselves. So make some time on Friday to be present, to feel into the heart, and to act from that sacred space. So the intentions I'm aligning with for this new moon are integrity, personal power, and majesty. So in order to put the mind back in its natural place, we need to actually know what that place is, what that role is. So in a world where we're overthinking and living in the head, then the workshop over the weekend really is what is thinking. What is thinking versus knowing? What's the difference? We need to understand what the mind was meant for, and once we centre in the heart we can put the mind back into its rightful role. So that's worth exploring at the weekend, because it would be easy to say what that is, but it's better if we find it for ourselves, if we live it, if we really experience it, and that's when we can really get to know the truth for ourselves. So it's a very liberating week, still lots of Pisces energy, still lots of reflection as we wrap up the recent Mercury retrograde, as we start to make the adjustments. With the dark moon let go of density that doesn't need to come forwards, then a very sovereign new moon coming in to centre in our personal power and start to radiate from that place. So like I say, have a look at where 15 degrees Aries is for you. It's really good to place some of these lunar cycles in your own chart, and I do have a workshop on how to make a personal lunar planner coming along on the 8th of April. I also have Practical Magik Club this Monday, which is about astrology and numerology and tuning into your own timing, your own perfect timing. So all of my events are listed at the bottom of my daily Astro Insights now on Facebook, AstroZo, and Instagram, Zoe-7. So please do check underneath the daily insight to see what events are coming up. I find that's the most effective way to let everybody know. And also to let you know that once you've had your first full reading, then I am available for half-hour quick readings. So you don't have to wait until you've got lots of questions. If there's something going on and you want some steer straight away, then half readings are available in person and online. And finally, I've created a personal empowerment program which works with you on a physical, mental, emotional and spiritual level. So that goes everything from connecting to your true source, to your true divinity, on the spiritual level, deconditioning the heart on the emotional level, deprogramming the mind on the mental level, and even working with herbs and workouts on the physical level. It's the most holistic program that I can put together. I'm calling it Energize for now. So if anybody would like to come and energize at this very energetic time, then I have that training program ready to go. So for a reading or any of my events, or to create an empowerment program for yourself, please do contact me, zoe-7@gmail.com, or come and see my website, www.astrozo.com. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week.